right now on News Channel 8 Today at 11.
Tonight I ordered a targeted military strike.
U.S. airstrikes on Syria. Dozens of Tomahawk cruise missiles launched at an airbase linked to a chemical attack that killed men, women, and children. Now the Russian military is promising to help Syria beef up its air defenses.
And back in jail and facing charges in connection to a deadly wrong-way crash. News Channel 8 is there as a fugitive hit-and-run suspect on the run for years is brought back to Hillsborough County.
Neighbors are sick and tired of illegal dumping like this right near their homes. I'll show you what one local council member is doing to clean up this mess.
Good morning to you. I'm Marco Villarreal.
And I'm Leigh Spann filling in for Stacey Scheibel. We'll have those stories in just a moment. But first, we begin with breaking news out of Sweden. The Swedish Prime Minister is now saying that this morning's deadly truck crash into a department store is a terror attack. The truck crashed into an upscale department store in central Stockholm, killing at least 3 people. No word yet on whether or not the person behind the wheel survived. We will continue, of course, to monitor this situation and bring you updates as soon as they become available.
And breaking new developments as well in the U.S. airstrikes on Syria. Russia is saying that the strikes were a violation of international law and is now offering to help Syria beef up its air defenses.
So we turn now to Edward Lawrence for a closer look at how Congress is reacting. Changing gears, coming back closer to home. New this morning, a fugitive in a deadly hit-and-run case is back in Hillsborough County 4.5 years after a deadly crash. U.S. Marshals brought Christopher Ponce to Tampa to face charges, and News Channel 8's Jana Jones is at the Hillsborough County Jail where Ponce was booked just hours ago.
Work through the night to make sure those hot spots were out and that neighbors are safe. All right, so we talked about those fires, how quickly they can pick up. I mean, it's been a bit of a dry day.
Exactly, and behind yesterday's cold front, the humidity has really dropped. And yes, that feels fantastic,
right,
but it also sort of sets the stage for if anything were to catch fire, then you've got the breezes that move it around, really a high fire danger. It's beautiful, don't get me wrong. I mean, this is the way it looks from the Innisbrook Golf and Spa Resort, and people are taking full advantage out there on the green there. 68 degrees, low humidity, just a pretty, pretty day. Warming up now, we've hit 66 in Auburndale and Lakeland, 68 in Clearwater, 70 in Bradenton. Pretty stiff breeze, though, coming out of the north, anywhere from 5 up to 15 mile per hour sustained winds. And we've got multiple areas reporting 25, even up to almost 30 mile per hour wind gust. And again, it's that dry air plus the breeze that adds to the fire danger. Otherwise, keeping us below average today with a high of 73. The average is 79. We'll be below average today, tomorrow, and even into Sunday morning before we start warming back up. Low humidity, rain-free for the next several days. And you know what? Even as we slowly warm up next week, back into the low 80s, still keeping that humidity low, Marco. Well, still ahead, avoiding accidents.
Roadways are filled with potential hazards, but this morning we're meeting 2 drivers who have logged millions of miles accident-free.
Hey, you're going to want to hear their secrets to safe driving coming up. Have you ever stopped to think, am I really a good driver? Because I'm sure at the end of the day, we could all do just a little bit better.
Just a little bit. And actually this morning, we're peeling back the curtain to see what we can learn about being safer on the road. Brian Master put the question to a couple of men who have logged millions of miles on the road. And I have found that on nice days like today, when the windows are rolled down and you're just enjoying the drive, you're less stressed. You're in less of a hurry. You just sit back and enjoy the road a little bit.
It's amazing what the weather can do to your mood, isn't it? It's either, you know, it can feel oppressive sometimes, but days like this, it's perfect out there. Now, let me take you outside. It might be a little cool to actually get in the water, and bless, you notice there's some white caps out there. The water's got a little more chop to it because of the strong winds, but walking along the beautiful white sands outside of the Trade Winds Island Resort on St. Pete Beach, yeah, that's not too bad. 69 degrees at that location. Then, of course, we're checking out Max Defender 8. Scanning the skies this morning and certainly not finding any rainfall, not with the amount of dry air that is in place. And that dry air feels really comfortable. Again, it has put us under the threat for wildfires even more so, but just enjoy it. Be careful with the cigarettes. Be careful with anything that's burning. Just still a gusty, cool day, right around 70 degrees at 1 p.m. This is below average, 73 at 4. That's as warm as it's going to be all day. Temperatures fall quickly this evening, so if you're heading out for Friday night, I'd at least take along a light jacket. I know I will be. 64 degrees at 8 p.m. So you step out the door right now in Homosassa, 68, 67 in St. Petersburg, 64 degrees in Bartow. Then on top of that, the breeze coming out of the north, making it feel even cooler. 17 miles per hour right now in Lakeland, 18 in Clearwater, and that's a sustained wind, kind of an average over time. Well, in that average, you get individual stronger gusts, and that's where you got the 28-mile-per-hour gust in Clearwater, the 21-mile-per-hour gust in Lakeland, 22 in Tampa right now. So the red flag warning will go from noon until 8 o'clock. So hold off on any outside burning today and just be very, very careful. The gusty winds will certainly spread that fire much quicker and be a little more difficult for firefighters. Also, the winds choppy out there on the bay, and then have the rip current risk, even a small craft advisory through the morning. This is all behind the storm system that's now bringing snowfall to the north and basically cloud-free across Florida. Feeling much cooler with that northwest breeze, so sunny, cool, breezy all day. You get the gist for today. Tomorrow is also going to be a cool day. The change tomorrow is that high pressure builds over the state. Now, that's still going to keep us basically cloud-free and still well below average, but the winds will be lighter tomorrow, and eventually the warm-up will start. So we get up to 79 degrees on Sunday, even though Sunday morning is going to be a little cool. But you know what? We're keeping the dry, less humid air around even next week as we warm up into the 80s.
Now he's charged with DUI and evading arrest.
Well, it is a meltdown over M&Ms, and a reminder that you never know when you're on camera. This guy lost his mind when his credit card was declined for that bag of M&Ms. He hits the employee, then shoves the cash register off the counter and throws things on his way out. Now, this tirade caused $700 in damages, and of course, Santa Ana police are now trying to find him. Still ahead, think you know everything of what your children are doing on social media?
Yeah, no, think again.
Yep.
Chances are they have an account you don't even know about. An 8 on your side look at that alarming trend and how you can check in on some hidden posts.
NBC News.
And now to an 8 on your side consumer alert. Hyundai Motors and Kia Motors are expected to recall more than 1 million vehicles in South Korea and the United States due to engine issues. No word yet on which vehicle models are affected. Now, reports say the U.S. recall could impact up to 1.3 million vehicles, and that would equal the company's annual U.S. sales. However, again, Hyundai and Kia have not identified the number of cars and models involved. And the personal information of 100,000 taxpayers may be compromised. IRS officials discovered the breach when they noticed some suspicious activity in the files of people who were using a data retrieval tool as they filled out the free application for federal student aid, also known as FAFSA. The IRS is now starting to notify those people involved. Still ahead, they put their lives on the line every day, keeping our community safe.
Yes, but who is protecting them? Closer look at how one Central Florida city is taking steps to safeguard its firefighters.
Today at 11.
After high drama on the Senate floor and a historic change, President Trump's nominee for Supreme Court appears all but certain for confirmation. A closer look at the historic showdown.
And they put their lives on the line every day, keeping our community safe. But who is protecting them? A closer look at how one Central Florida city is taking steps to safeguard its firefighters.
And getting the authentic Italian experience without leaving the Bay Area. The Tampa tradition serving up a culture, delicious cuisine this weekend.
All right, good morning. You're watching News Channel 8. I'm Marco Villarreal.
And I'm Leigh Spann, filling in for Stacey Scheibe. We'll have those stories in just a moment. But first,
a bit of breaking news to get to. We are waiting on this.
In a Target 8 update, some closure for a former St. Petersburg Marine who worked for 5 years to adopt and bring home the bomb-sniffing dog he bonded with in Afghanistan. Nathan Nauman, who is now a Pinellas Park police officer, was reunited with Jazzy. The two had spent months together, protecting one another and fellow Marines in Afghanistan back in 2012. Well, Nathan came home, but Jazzy was redeployed to Afghanistan, then later assigned to the TSA. Even though the two were reunited, Nauman will not get to keep her. Jazzy's TSA handler is adopting her.
Obviously, it's not the desired outcome for me, but, you know, I said from the start, I want to do what's best for her. If that's up there with him and his family, then I won't.
Now, Nathan tells us that the visit did answer a lot of his questions. For instance, he now knows Jazzy is part of a family, and her workload is obviously considerably lighter than it was in Afghanistan. But he told Target 8 senior investigator Steve Andrews that he wasn't sure if the visit helped more than it hurt. Well, the Orlando Fire Department is adding bulletproof vests to every fire truck in the city. As Bob Keeling explains, the policy was put in place following last year's deadly shooting at the Pulse nightclub.
For City, I'm Gail Guayardo, News Channel 8.
And that main event happening this Sunday at Centennial Park in Ybor. The festivities begin at 11 o'clock.
Bring your appetite, because it's already making us hungry.
I have it right now. I'm ready to go. All right, still ahead, we are waiting to hear from Tampa Police Department on the search for a missing teen. We're going to carry that news conference for you live as soon as it begins.
Thank you.
We just heard there from Chief Eric Ward with the Tampa Police Department. An update on Haley Acerno. The teen had been missing for about 10 days. We understand now that she has been found. Her body was found there in the Flatwoods Park about 2 miles south of her home in the woods. And police saying at this time that there's no foul play suspected in this.
Yeah, they said that it's a very dense area, and so people had been close to the area, but it wasn't until they could add more resources, including bike patrols who could get off of those main trails and into the more dense parts of that park before they were able to finally find her.
And organizers of this event very grateful for all the different agencies that came together: Fish and Wildlife, Hillsborough Sheriffs, Tampa PD. I mean, there were so many different agencies that came together in this search for Haley Acerno.
Yeah, it came from all over the Tampa Bay area. I know the family appreciates it. I know Chief Ward appreciates it as well.
Exactly. And we're going to go to Paul Mueller right now. Well, we thank you for joining us. We'll have more updates on this story and more at 4, 5, and 6 today.